being in service, it's so stressful, but it's so exciting. And it's stressful, but there's order. Like, it's not just chaos, of course, because they've all got it all down pat.
So much of the conversation in Australian hospitality at the moment is about staff. Where are they? I heard today that there's 200,000 staff needed to get Australian restaurants, cafes and bars through this summer, which is a pretty frightening prospect. Of course, a lot of people are looking to overseas workers, but what about the Aussies that are here anyway? Today, we are chatting to a bright young hope of Australian hospitality. Bubble Booker Malcolm is one of a fleet of under 18s that are working at Rumi in Brunswick with Joseph Abood. Bubble, welcome to Dirty Linen.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do during the week, and what about your job?
Yeah, so I'm in year 11 at the moment, so I go to school full time, but I work 3 days a week at Rumi. So I work Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays, usually from like 4 till 9. That's on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then Saturdays is 4 till usually about 11. Yeah, I've been there for about, I think, 3 months, just under 3 months. And I'm really enjoying it. It's really good. I've learned so much, yeah. It's been a great learning opportunity, yeah.
What took you to this job? Do you have an interest in food? Do you have a connection with the restaurant?
Yeah, so ever since I was little, I've always really enjoyed cooking. My great-grandma, she was like kind of an at-home cook. She's really loved it. And my auntie, she was a caterer as well. But my food tech teacher at Fitzroy High School, he started a couple years ago. So he was a chef. He was in the industry. And then he left the industry to become a teacher. And he, I think he did an apprenticeship at Rumi, just around when they opened, maybe a couple years after they opened. So he knew Joseph. He did an apprenticeship there, and he introduced me because I was looking for a new job. He's like, would you be all right working late nights? And I was like, yeah, definitely. He's like, oh, I'll talk to some people I know and I'll let you know. And then about maybe a week later, yeah, he came back to me. He was like, I know this guy Joseph at Rumi, and I was like, oh yeah, I know Rumi. He's like, I'll give you his number. He's expecting your call. Give him a call and see what you think. Yeah.
Wow. And I mean, what was it like going to the restaurant for the first time as a worker or as a potential worker?
Oh, it was terrifying. I remember I called Joseph and we talked for maybe like 15 minutes. He was really lovely. And I was super excited. He was like, so do you want to do a trial shift? And I was like, yeah, totally. And I was so scared. I was terrified. Just because it was something that had kind of such high stakes for me because I had a connection to it, because my teacher, who's like one of my favorite teachers, James, he worked there. And so, I wanted to make a good impression. But yeah, I was really scared, but I got there and I met Joseph, and then he introduced me to Adam, who's kind of like I wouldn't call him it's a sous chef kind of. But, he took me through it, and I think the trials, they usually last around an hour, but I stayed for, I think, like 4 hours or something. And it was so much fun. I did some prep. I watched how everything worked, and it was a really nice environment to be in. I remember it's like, as soon as I walked in, I felt so much less worried because I was so scared, but it was so comfortable and everyone was so welcoming. It was really lovely. Yeah.
That's so good. So did you find out at the trial that you actually had got the job?
Yeah, so I think towards the end of the trial, Joseph was like, do you want to come back? Because I think it was the last school holidays, not the ones just been, but the ones before that. So it was kind of in the daytime. He was like, do you want to come back? And I was like, yeah, definitely. So I gave him my email. And then the next morning he messaged me and he was like, we really loved having you. And then we set up another date to come back, and I was in at that point, yeah.
I just love it. So you mentioned you're studying food tech. Do you feel like what you're doing at school has prepared you at all for the restaurant environment, or is it a completely different situation? Yeah,
so it's a bit different. It's food studies, so it's not necessarily centered around hospitality. It's more, I'm doing year 11 food studies, even though I'm in year 12. I'm doing year 12 food studies. So food studies 3 and 4, even though I'm in year 11. because I wanted to do it this year. I wanted to start food studies this year, do unit 1 and 2, but no one in my year level wanted to, so there wasn't a class running. And so I talked to the coordinators in my year level, and I was like, I really want to do this class, but there's not one in my year level. Can I move into the year 12 one? And some of them were like, oh, I don't know, it's a year 12 class, you haven't done the first half of it, might be a bit difficult. So I went to James and I was like, James, will you write me a recommendation to get me into this class? Because we'd always had a good relationship. I'd been in other classes with him before I got to BCE. And so he wrote just the loveliest email, and I'm pretty sure I teared up reading it, but it was just so lovely. And it was really nice to see someone that really believed in me at school. Not that other teachers haven't been supportive, but it's something that an area that I've been really interested in. And so the other teachers read that and they let me in, yeah.
That's so good. So what are some of the things that you've studied in your units 3 and 4?
So we did at the start of the year, we did digestion, which was a little odd. But it was like, how food is actually processed in the body. It was quite interesting, like all the enzymes and bacteria that go into actually processing food. I quite enjoyed that. There was a lot of remembering, but it was very interesting. And then we've done, I should have written this down. What else do we do? Recently we've done navigating food information, so like how to read food labels, stuff like diets, like fad diets, what are the things that need to be on food products, like, weight, the nutrition table. What else? We did just now we're doing ethics and environmental issues within food, so like sustainable farming and the ethics of workers and like fair trade, that kind of thing.
Oh, so it sounds like such a good subject.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff we look at. It's quite broad, but it's not super we don't do a lot of cooking. Like we do some cooking for assessments and stuff, but it's not like your regular kind of like food tech class in year 8 where you do a lot of cooking.
Got it, yeah. And so, Bubble, tell us about your job at Rumi. What kinds of things have you been doing there?
Yeah, so I first started off doing like a bit of prep. That was for the first couple of weeks. And then like prep and washing dishes and stuff, which is, it's good to get started in, got to learn the basics. And then they started teaching me one of the stations. So I've learnt pretty much everything. I learned how to set up one station for service, and I've been been the person on that station for quite a few services. I don't really know how to word this. But yeah, so I've been cooking with the rest of the team for service. Sometimes like on busy nights on Saturdays, I'll have someone else helping me plate up, but often on Tuesdays and Thursdays, it was just me doing the cooking and the plating. Yeah.
That is so amazing that you're actually cooking food that's going out into the restaurant. I mean, what does that feel like?
It's pretty intense. Like I wasn't expecting to, move up that quickly. But it's been a great privilege to know that they really trust me with that. It's because I've never really done anything like that before. Like I've cooked, and I make dinner a lot and I do a lot of baking. That was kind of my area. Like for a good couple years, I was baking things every Sunday. But I don't know, it's so different. And being in service, it's so stressful, but it's so exciting. And it's stressful, but there's order. Like it's not just chaos, of course, because they've all got it all down pat. And so, I remember standing there on my first shift and Joseph was like, just stand here and, watch how everything works for service. I remember standing there and they were all calling out things and I was like, I'm never going to learn what any of these things mean. Because it's like there's like a specific way we call out banquets at Rumi. And I was like, I'm never going to understand how that works. But now it's just like, it's second nature to me. And I'll Joseph will call something out and we'll go, we, in response. And sometimes now I do that in class. Like I've been so close to doing it in class. Sometimes my teacher will say something and I'll you respond with like an affirmative statement. I've just been so close to going, we, and responding. But it's just, I feel so privileged and lucky and thankful to be able to do and learn from just really amazing people, yeah.
What are some of the things that they've done or they've set up for you, or the way that they've treated you or spoken to you that, you know, do you think have helped smooth the path for you at Rumi?
Yeah, so there's just a lot of respect. Like, you know, they talk to you like you're an adult, which I, you know, always love. Obviously, I'm not an adult, but I'm not a child either. I can be talked to. You know, I understand things. And there's just a culture of like, you know, you make a mistake. It's what can we learn from this? Like, how can you move on and learn, rather than it's like maybe why this happened and then what you can do better next time. And it's just very helpful in learning. And also it's just a really nice atmosphere in there. It's very relaxed and very welcoming. Everyone's really lovely, and, you know, everyone wants to be a friend and get to know you. But yeah, just the learning, the way they let you learn and help you learn is very supportive. Yeah.
Tell us about some of the specific dishes that you're putting up, because I mean, when I know that I'm going to get really hungry as you talk about them, because I love the food at Rumi. But yeah, tell us about some of the dishes that you've been making.
Yeah, so I'm on fryer section, which is obviously a fryer. But so I do things like the I really hope I'm going to pronounce these right. I think I am. The fricke, which is like a fricke grain salad that's kind of pre-mixed, and then you just put it up with almonds on top. The fried cauliflower, which I was listening to your podcast with Joseph on Dirty Linen the other day, and that's been a classic from the start, the fried cauliflower with the caramelized onions on top. The potatoes, those potatoes, they're so good. I remember my first shift, I could smell something really good from across the room, and I was trying to like figure out what it was, and I was like, it was those potatoes, they're so good. So they're, we par cook them in the fryer before service, and then we refry them, and they get all crispy, and then they're tossed in tum and this chili mix and salt and coriander, and it's just, the smell's so delicious. And I love tum. It's a garlic sauce, and it's like basically garlic and oil, and it's just the best thing ever. I remember before I came to Rumi, I saw it on, I think, MasterChef, because I was addicted to MasterChef for a good while, and me and my mum saw it, and we were like, what is that? We have to make it. And we made it quite a bit in 2020, I think. And then I came to Rumi, and there's just like endless supplies of it, and I love it. Yeah, so those potatoes, they always smell so good. The school prawns, which I really love. What else? The cigars, which are a classic. So the little filo pastry tubes with cheese in them. They're so good. What else?
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's all I can think of right now. Yeah.
Oh, no, everything sounds so delicious. In fact, I know that it's so delicious. You know, Bubble, you mentioned that when you got there were all these sort of kitchen codes, things that you felt like you'd never be able to understand or do. Are there other things going on in the kitchen now that you haven't had a chance to learn yet or have a go at, and you're thinking, I'd love to get a go at that one day?
Yeah, there's a couple of things. Like, sometimes I hear Adam and Joseph talking about stuff, and I'm like, I wonder what that is. And they do quite encourage like asking when you don't know what something is, but sometimes they're like deep in conversation. I'm like, I probably shouldn't ask. But I've always been into like kind of the sweet things, and there was a good while when I was probably like 12 when I really wanted to be a pastry chef. It's like all my family knew that's what I was going to do. And I've kind of like broadened off from there. So like I'm not sure if I might do that now, because I've kind of got other options, but I do really love sweet cooking. And one of the chefs there, Chris, he does all the sweets, and sometimes I see him making it and I'm like, oh yeah, I really want to try that. Like there's a macadamia baklava ice cream. I really want to try making that. It's so delicious. It's just, that's something I'd want to do. Also just like the other stations, like there's the salad and dip station with the labneh and the, what's it called? How am I forgetting? I don't know.
The baba ganoush?
Yeah, that one. There's tara. Oh no.
Oh, tara masalada.
Oh no, it's not that, but
tarator?
Yeah, almond tarator. That's the one. Jesus, thank you. Don't know how I forgot that.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah. the tarator, and I had a crack at that the other day. I did like the way they do the dips, they like spin them round. There's like this gorgeous little like spiral in the middle that they pour oil into. But I'd really love to get more into the other stations. I'm not so sure about the grill. It seems quite hot. I don't know. It's a bit too hot for me. But, you know, I'd like to learn about it, maybe give it a crack.
That's so good. So, I mean, you mentioned you had wanted to be a pastry chef. I mean, do you feel like the kitchen is where you want to be? Like, how are you seeing things shape up for yourself?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, getting to year 11 and year 12, nobody really knows what they want to do. And so that's always the thing. It's like, what am I going to do after high school? And before I got to Rumi, I was like, yeah, I had no clue. I was like, I don't know, maybe I'll take a gap year. I don't know. But now I feel maybe a little bit more certain. I think I definitely want to continue at Rumi and see what opportunities kind of await for me in hospitality. I'm definitely still interested in doing sweet things. That's something that's always been a passion for me. But yeah, continuing in hospitality, I kind of I stopped cooking a bit in lockdown. You know, it was a bit of a tough time, you know, for everyone. I think some of us lost some hobbies, but being back in the kitchen, it's really reminded me how much I love cooking, and also how much of kind of an intuitive thing it is for me. That it's just, you know, it feels really natural. Yeah.
Everyone that's in hospitality that owns a restaurant would love there to be high school kids that are keen to work in kitchens. But it seems like it was a little bit random that it was sort of put in front of you as an option. Do you feel like that things could be done differently in terms of encouraging kids to give hospitality a go?
Yeah, I think, I don't know, I think hospitality is kind of like one of those things that's kind of like an entry-level job, you know, from a lot of teenagers. I mean, fast food, that's very different, obviously. But, you know, the whole thing with fast food, you know, teenagers working at Macca's and KFC, that kind of thing, it's not really the same. But it is quite intimidating moving into a workplace that's a little bit more high stakes than a fast food place. I don't know what we could do. I guess, like, specifically asking for teenagers, or being like, if you put ads up being like, you know, teenagers or like people in school accepted as well. And I guess also working around the hours that we have, because of course hospitality is quite a late, you know, it goes late into the night, the industry, and restaurants, they go to like 10. And so it can be a bit difficult to navigate around having to do school, especially when you're in VCE, having to do school and getting homework done, but also having work. That's something that I know a lot of people find difficult. And so I think, you know, more communication around what hours are available and how people can, you know, work out those hours would be helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Has your family come in and eaten when you've been working there?
Yeah. We were gonna, a couple months ago, some of my family and my mum and my mum and some of her friends were going to come in on a Saturday when I was working, but I got sick and they went anyway, but I couldn't be there, which was, it was pretty disappointing, because I was gonna, they were all going to come say hi to me in the kitchen. But the other day I went with my brother and my dad and we ate, and it was really lovely. We sat down. It was so nice seeing everyone. We walked in. Everyone was like, "Oh, hey, Bob." And I was like, "Oh, hi, everyone." It was very cool. And yeah, we ordered all the delicious food. And then with the last course, they sent out an extra little bowl of tum, because they know me so well, which was very appreciated. Yeah. And then we went and saw everyone in the kitchen, and I introduced everyone. That was really lovely. But yeah, I'll have to have some of my friends over when I'm cooking.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, it just sounds like you really, the whole team thing feels like it's something that's really, you've really like latched onto that, and it's like a good feeling to be there. Yeah, definitely.
Like I would definitely call the people I work with, even though they're 20 years, 15 years older than me, they're definitely my friends. Like, they're such just lovely people to be around. And it is a little odd being friends with 30-year-old men, but they're very lovely, and I do very much enjoy their company, yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Well, it just sounds like Joseph's created a really beautiful environment of mutual respect and learning, which I suppose, why wouldn't you want to be there and, soak it all up and see what happens?
Yeah, definitely. Also, because Joseph's son Mally works there, and he's really lovely. He's got a couple friends from his school that work there too, and so it's also nice to have some people my age in the kitchen as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so cool. Okay, what would you say to people your age that are thinking, they'd love a job, whether it's weekends or holidays or, during term time? What would you say to them about the possibilities of working in restaurants?
Definitely just give it a shot, because if you don't, obviously there's going to be no opportunity if you don't even try. And I reckon, most people just are really lovely and they're definitely open to working with you. And I think it's a really great opportunity to meet some really nice people. Yeah.
Love it. All right. Thanks so much for being part of Dirty Linen Bubble. We have loved having you on the show. And, all the best at Rumi. I'll see you for some of that cauliflower with a little extra bowl of tum.
Definitely. Awesome. Thank you for having me.
This is Dirty Linen, and I'm Dani Valent. We air the issues that the hospitality industry finds hard to talk about, hearing from different people with unique perspectives. We want to hear from you as well. If you have something that needs to be said about a topic, get in touch so we can include your perspective. Contact us at dirtylinenat.deepintheweeds.com.au or hit us up on Insta at Dirty Linen Podcast. We can't wait to hear from you.
This